Welcome back. This is Mr. Marshall for Truganina College Year 9 Maths. This is the Financial Maths Unit, and this lesson is Lesson 9, which is GST. So we are learning about calculating GST, and our success criteria are: I am successful when I can identify what GST is, calculate the GST of an item, and calculate the total price to be paid for an item. So in Australia, we have something called GST, or Goods and Services Tax. This is a tax that is placed on goods, which are things that you buy, such as computers, iPhones, any physical item, and services that you pay people to do, such as getting a haircut, or doing your lawns, or anything that people are actually doing. You don't get something physical. GST is charged on most goods and services. There are particular goods that don't have GST on them, and they are essential items such as fruits and vegetables, but most items have a GST on them. Now, the person who sells you items is called the vendor, and the person who buys items is called a purchaser. So in Australia, we have a GST of 10%, which is 1/10 of the original price. So if a vendor wants to sell a pair of jeans for $100, they'll need to calculate the amount that needs to be added to that original price for the GST. So in this case, the GST is 100 divided by 10, because it is 1/10, and our GST that needs to be paid is $10. Now, if a vendor wants to sell $50 for a shirt, they do the same calculation to work out the GST for that. So in this case, $50 divided by 10 is 5, and that's the GST. Therefore, the GST actually depends on the value of the original price. Now, when the purchaser actually purchases it, it will state that it is including GST. So you need to work out the price of the jeans that is including GST. And in this case, we get that original price of the jeans, that $100, we plus the GST we worked out, and we get $110. Now, if the price does not include GST, it states it's excluding GST, and we write that as EXCL or EXT GST. So here's an example. Calculate the GST and the price including GST of a camera with the listed price of $710 excluding GST. So we know that the GST is 10% of the base price. So we work out 10% of 710, which is 0.1 times 710, which is $71. Now for the part 2, which is the final price, we add it to the base price. So we get $710 plus $71 is $781 in total. Now, if we know the inclusive price, but we want to work out how much tax there is, we have something that's called the unitary method. And it's a quick way to work out the excluded price from the included price of GST. And the formula is the excluded GST is equal to the inclusive GST divided by 11 times 10. So here's an example for this. Using the unitary method, calculate the price excluding GST of a PlayStation 5 that costs $750 including GST, and hence work out the GST on it. So let's go through the unitary method. To work out the excluding GST price is to divide by 11 and times by 10. So I do that in my calculator. I get this number here, 681.818181, and it just keeps going on forever. It's a recursive number. So we round that off to 2 decimal places because we're dealing with cents. And we get excluding GST is $681.82. Be careful with the rounding here because that may cause an error in your calculations. And hence, to work out the GST price, we need to take the excluding GST price away from the including GST price. That gives us GST is equal to $750. That's our original price, minus 681.82, which gives us $68.18 as our GST paid for that. So we're going to be working from the worksheet in our packs, and your different levels will be doing different questions from that worksheet. Our reflection for today is what items do not have GST. Try to list more than what I have stated in this video. And why do you think they are exempt from having GST? What makes them so special?